Let's make some miniature boxwood. Here are the supplies we'll be using. Square blocks for planter boxes, foam. I'm recycling some foam I got in a shipping box, styrofoam balls, various sizes that you would like your boxwood to be, beads, acrylic paint, glue, paint brushes, tweezers, knife, scissors, and cardstock. And here's a tip. Recycle old boxes to hold your glue and your paint. It makes for really easy cleanup. For the rounded boxwood, we use a styrofoam ball. We trim off the bottom of the ball so that it can sit flat on your chosen surface, like this. Here are some various shapes I've already finished. You can see small, medium, large, rounded shrubs, short and long hedges. And the shipping foam creates the long boxwood. You can see that after I cut the long piece of foam, I like to round off the edges with scissors for a more natural look. Then all the base foam shapes should get a coat of dark green paint. This will hide the color of the foam from showing through after it dries. Apply the paint on thick and set aside to dry. Next, we'll give the planter box a coat of white acrylic paint. I pre-paint a lot of them so that as I need them, they're ready to go. Now we will add the texture that creates the look of the boxwood leaves. We take a clear drying glue, spread it over the foam base, and then dip it in the stones and set aside to dry. It's important to use clear drying glue so that the dark paint shows through after it dries. And after this is dry, we can paint it. You dab the paint so that it gets in all the little cracks and crevices. After the base paint dries, you are ready to add the highlights. For the highlights, we will create a lighter green color. I like to add some yellow paint with a little light green paint and then dab this on top of the dark green paint that is dry now. This will create a sense of depth. This perception of depth makes the stones look like leaves. An optional step is to paint on a sealant as a final coat. Be careful, however, because if the sealant is applied too thick, it will turn white after it dries. So if I do use a sealant, I dab it off with a wet cloth so it's not too thick. Now for the planter boxes. I like to put a pattern on my planter boxes. So I snip some white cardstock into thin strips and trim them to fit on the box like so. For this planter box, I'll do a simple X pattern. To speed up the process, use your first cut piece as a template to make multiple cuts at a time. Next, glue the cardstock strips onto the planter box in the X pattern. Here is a finished dry one. Now we'll put the feet onto the planter box. The feet will be these glass beads. You simply hot glue the white beads to the four corners of the bottom of the box, like so. After your planter box is decorated, you can glue your boxwood to the top. Here I am using hot glue, but any glue will work. For an optional last step, you can apply green pastel to your planter box to simulate moss. It kind of ages the planter box, and I like that look. Here I'm using a brush to gently swipe over. And now you're finished! Great job! I think the boxwood can add such a great look to your miniature scenes. Come on over to my channel and watch some more videos with me.